Managing Money Project Exam. So this exam's due by 11:59 p.m. this coming Sunday, March the 5th. I kind of wanted to go over some expectations about what I'm looking for in this exam. So you have completed assignments for this course already, or for this section of this course, which was future investments and taxes, future career and goals information, research, budgeting, and employment. I had you do all those in sections. So it's basically like a rough draft, right? So each part of that, you had to do research, you had to make a works cited page, you had to do the information, the math work. If you did it right, it's going to be easier to complete this project assignment. This project assignment is the main paper, so you can write it as an essay if you want. But please, I'm not asking for a 10-page essay. I'm just asking for you to be straight to the point and hit everything that's in this section that's specific to you. Also, you can do it as a PowerPoint, you can do it as bullet points. However, the most important thing is you have to follow the directions. One, you have to have a cover page. On that cover page, it must have your name as it appears in Canvas with the date. Must have the title of the assignment and Math 1083. That has to be on your cover page. Anything else is up to you. This has to be professional. It has to be neat, okay? So whenever you were talking about your career, you went and did research on your retirement that you would get out of this career, or you may have to do retirement separate because, I mean, if you're self-employed, you'll have to figure out what company to invest in and how to save for retirement. You need a nest eggs and savings because we never know what's going to happen 20 years down the road, 10 years down the road. The materials you need for this career. Are you going to build, or are you going to buy, or are you going to rent, etc., etc.? The budget, your budget, how, you not only have a budget in a business if you're running a business, but even if you're working for someone, you have a budget that you have to, you're traveling back and forth to work. What does your work require? Do you have to dress a certain way? Do you need materials that you have to supply for yourself? Plus the budget you need just to live your personal life. Employment. I had you do research on where, okay, so one, you have to know what state you want to live in, what city you want to live in, and then what's the job that you're looking for. And then you had to figure out how much the starting pay is and the ending pay is. But remember, things change 10 years down the road. These numbers could change. We're just getting an expected estimate, an idea, an expectation of what we are planning for our future. However, we know our future could change, right? Everything changes daily. But this is to give you an idea. And when you did that, I also wanted you to figure out what's your benefits, because you got to have health care and how many people you're going to be covering. Are you going to have a family, or is it just going to be you? They hold out taxes, so you had to figure out how much you have to pay into the IRS and the state that you're living in. But I didn't really tell you had to look about the state, but just know in your mind that there's going to be more held out for whatever state you lived in, unless you live in a state that don't have taxes. Or you work in a state that don't have taxes, but you live in one that has taxes, you still have to pay. So those are things you do need to know about. However, I did ask you to focus on federal. Remember, those numbers do change, but it gives you an idea. Are you going to lease a car? Are you going to buy a car, a vehicle, whatever? Or are you going to go through finance it through the company itself that sells the cars? If you do that, you're still getting a loan. Even though you're financing it through Ford or Chevrolet or whatever it may be, they still reach out to a bank in order to finance it through you. They have to find a way of funding it. So they do reach out to a bank, and it does go off your credit score. If you're going to buy a house, if you're going to buy a business, if you're going to build a house, you're going to buy land, whatever it may be, that's still, unless you have the full money in full, you're going to have to get a loan. So I asked you to calculate that. I asked you to calculate, what would your monthly payments expect to be? How long are you planning on paying it off? How much will your interest be? All of this is in the notes, the lecture notes for this section. If are you going to have credit card debt? If you are or already do, calculate that up. Notice that, if you only pay minimum, you don't get out from under those debts. You have student loan debt, or do you think you're going to have student loan debt? You need to calculate that up. So, these are all things that are falling into this. I asked you to figure out if you are going to be how can you avoid being in a deficit, and how can you stay in a surplus? I asked you to elaborate on that. So if you go looking at your personal expenses and you notice that you're spending all this money on running around extra buying stuff that you really don't have to have, or having like Netflix when you don't feel like you need it. And I'm not just out of them, I'm just saying Netflix, Hulu, there's all kinds out there. Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, HBO, all those things. There's more than just that. People play games. There's a gaming thing that you can be a part of. So just ask yourself, is these things I really have to have? Again, go back to all the assignments that you submitted, because that's going to be part of it, because that's the whole point of doing that research. Remember, every one of those you did a works cited page, or you should have. That works cited page is going to be put together in this final thing. If you do any new research to add to this paper, then you need to make sure and add the works cited to it as well. If you'll notice here, I have everything written out for you. I said you have to have a title or a cover page, an introduction. That's just introducing. It's just like a welcoming into and what expecting that I'm fixing to read about. I ask for bodies or information about what you're working on. So, you already have 1, 2, 3, 4 that you already did research on. And then I asked you to do graphs or tables. So, if you did a pie chart, you can do a percentage of your income. And you could do one over your income versus going in and out, but you could do one really on your whole entire expenses. You have utilities, credit cards, student loans, truck payments, insurance for a truck, insurance for healthcare. You got an idea. Everybody's going to be different. Not everybody's going to have the credit cards. Not everybody's going to have student loans. Okay. So just look at it that not everybody's going to build, some's going to rent, but you still have that to pay. And if you rent, are you going to do renter's insurance? So your stuff's covered. Then I asked you to put your math work. You have to show your math work. You have to. I have to see it. If you type it, that's fine. If you write it, make sure it's in pencil. Make sure you label it. Make sure it's clear. Make sure I know where it goes. If you handwrite it and you typed everything else, put it before the works cited page. Okay. When I grade your math work, I'm looking for your formulas that you used. I'm looking for your setup. I'm looking for any additional math work you may use in the process, an answer, and I need a statement with it. It has to be clear and straight to the point. You're not going to just say 20. 20 what? I need a clear statement as to what it goes to. If you do PowerPoints, you may put your math work in that specific PowerPoint, and you'll have your statements, and you could do that. You could do your bullet points, whichever one you want to do it, but make sure this is professional, clear, straight to the point. And then and then of course you're going to have more body and information. You're going to have a conclusion. So you're going to wrap this up. And in your conclusion, you could talk about the surplus and deficit. Apologize. Deficit. I mean that word. But anyways, so you get the point. And I gave instructions here, more instructions right here, as you can see. So I ask that you follow these instructions. And I told you that if you read 11 here, it tells you this assignment must be submitted no later than the deadline. This means no late work is accepted. So please reach out to me if you have any other questions, concerns. If you need me to elaborate in a little bit more detail, just remember everybody's different. And I'm not saying that you're going to need every single thing, but go back to those work that you submitted. That is your rough drafts. That is a good concrete building process. And if you need to do more research, do more research. But again, don't forget to add it to your works cited.